Hello, welcome to Wilco Whites. I'm Sean. Please consider subscribing and please like the video. Maybe. Who knows? All right. Man City 3, Leeds United 2. So I didn't watch the game on Saturday. We was out in Leeds with Matty. Imagine not being Leeds and all that. Without them, got a great day. We actually tried to watch the game on our phones. I sort of didn't pay as much attention as the others. I knew I would watch it back yesterday, which was Sunday, and I did. And I'm glad I did. Now, really surprising that we didn't get battered. Really surprising. But I'm pleased. I'm very pleased. You know, we didn't have the best of starts. I mean, I'll go through the lineups first before we get into the game. So lineups, it bit surprising. We didn't think he'd go with this. With James Justin coming in at left back, obviously trying to tighten things up on that left hand side. Strike Road on Bogle keeping the place. Gruev and Tanaka we knew would start in place of Stack and Longstaff. James and Nonto starting was a surprise. We did think he'd just stick with Aronson and Okafor for this game, and Nemecha up top. And the rotation would probably come with the Chelsea game, but he didn't. He went with Dan James and Willie Nonto in a 4-3-3 system there. Which I will touch on in a minute. Obviously, Man City, strong lineup. You know, Haaland at top, Doku, Silva, Foden, Gonzalez, Reinders. Yeah, fantastic there. Midfield and attacking players. O'Reilly, Guardiola, Diaz, Nunes, and Donnarumma in goal for them. Obviously, it was always going to be a tough task against a good Manchester City side who's not really had the best of games recently in the past 2 games, but always a danger. And we saw that straight from the off. Got caught cold, didn't we? Again, down that left-hand side. But they moved the ball so fast, do Man City. They were on it straight away. And we just got caught cold. And again, that ball slipped through the left-hand side there between Struijk and Justin. For the cross to come in and Foden to score a good goal. To be honest, it was a good finish and not the start we wanted. But I thought after that we did sort of grow into the game slightly, and it was more like a 4-2-3-1. What I was watching, it looked. Tanaka was playing a little bit higher in that 10 role, which I've been asking for, to be honest. With Gruev and Ampadu just sitting behind him, you'd see Tanaka doing a lot of pressing up top, and he can do it. I'm not saying maybe to the, he's not as busy maybe as what maybe Brendan Aronson is, but obviously Tanaka brings so much more to the team than Brendan Aronson. But it was good to see him in some sort of positions in certain areas of the field, especially when we were slightly higher. You would see Tanaka just in behind Nemecha there and just in front of Ampadu and Gruev. And Ampadu and Gruev would then just interchange. You'd see one going in for, in for a press and in for a tackle, and then Gruev would just sit, or vice versa. And at times then when the pressure was on and we was getting help, a lot held back into our own box, you would then see Tanaka drop into that 3 and creating that 3 in midfield. James would obviously, he would in the side for any counter-attacking options, which we was asking for. There were a couple of times, I think it was Ampadu playing the ball over for James to run onto, but he's coming up against O'Reilly, and he's a good left back, is O'Reilly, and I think he struggled slightly. Did Dan James? He nearly got behind a few times, but it just wasn't to be. Willie Nonto was quiet at times, although he was quite decent on the ball when we did get him on the ball, but it just wasn't enough for me. We did okay. We did all right. The stats will suggest different, and I'm going to show you the stats. Looking at it, it wasn't too bad, but Manchester City, they had a lot of ball, they had a lot of shots. Something had to change, and I know we were screaming for 3-5-2, and I don't know what his reluctance is not to play or start with the game, although he did say after his after pre-match, which we'll get into as well, why he didn't start with a 3-5-2. He was obviously thinking about it. Now, the second goal came, and it's a poor mistake by Perry. I mean, he just pulled off a great save. But then the corner comes in, and again, it's Meslier-esque, isn't it? If that is Meslier, he's getting absolute hammered for that. And there's been a few times this season where Perry could and should have done better. So the debate's still out on Perry. Is he any better than what we've got? Some say yeah, he is. I mean, he's kicking. Well, I mean, that second half, I'd have been pulling my hair out with if I was Daniel Farke, the way he was just booting the ball down the field and just giving it straight back. I mean, it was going all the way through to Donnarumma. Maybe he could have been a bit more calmer on the ball, a bit more controlled in the kick-outs, because it would just kept putting us under pressure, especially that last 10 minutes. Second half, we did change it to the 3-5-2, and it's what we were all screaming for. We did bring Bijol in, and we took James and Nonto off, and we brought Bijol in and brought DCL on as a two up top, with Bogle and Justin as the wing backs. I've just got to say, James Justin, I thought had a decent game. The rating there 6.2. I know he got caught cold of it for the first game, but he made a lot. Some good blocks. Looked comfortable on the ball with both feet as well. Pascal Struijk, I just want to touch on him as well. I don't think his best game. Again, at times he was running out of defence, trying to close that ball down, and he's just not quite getting to it. The Man City just move it quickly, and he's out of position, and Rodon's left on his own. That's got to stop. I've seen that a few times from Pascal Struijk, and it's a downside to his game. So we changed it up again. Second half, 3-5-2. We all want this. And I will show you the stats. It proves we're a lot better and was a lot more effective in the 3-5-2. I'll bring them on stage now. And there you go, first half and second half comparison. I mean, first half, 67% ball possession by Man City. 14 shots they had. It would obviously needed to change something. 6 shots on target for Man City in that first half. 5 big chances created as well. A lot of possession, a lot of ball accurate passing. 7 corners in that first half by Man City to our 0. I mean, we didn't even have a shot on target. Managed 2 shots, but none on target. No big chances created. Second half, you go to a 3-5-2, and there you go. You can tell the difference straight away. Man City did have a more possession. It's always going to happen there at the Etihad, but it wasn't as much. We did get back into the game a bit more. More shots, 4 shots on target, 3 big chances. As accurate passes weren't as high, but very similar. Nothing really changed really in his passing, except we did keep the ball a lot better. And corners there, we nullified Man City just to 1 corner that second half. Disappointing, we only managed 1 corner ourselves, but you can see the total difference that a 3-5-2 made. And I can move on to the presser and the presser after the game and Daniel Farke. I sometimes think he's trying to talk himself out of using the 3-5-2. He's still saying it's not as easy. Well, I think it is. It is. I think it suits our team a lot better. He did say they were thinking about using it against Man City, but then obviously with the injuries to Bornau, again, is that an excuse? Then we wouldn't have had a centre back on the bench. Would that have been different if maybe Stack and Longstaff would have been fit? Because you can always play Ampadu in there as well. We know this, but with us being like in the midfield areas, maybe then that's why he did stick to the 4 at the back. But it was pleasing to think that he was actually thinking about doing it. It was obviously to do with trying to control the ball a little bit better Passing angles weren't right in that first half. Trying to get out of the Man City press, we needed a little bit more, especially in the midfield areas, and it worked. Bijol there occupying Haaland. It did free up Rodon and Pascal Struijk. We then obviously wing backs with Bogle and James Justin. James Justin then coming off for Goodmanson, and again we saw Goodmanson, doing, you win the ball up high up and putting a cross in that nearly got to DCL, but I think it just works so much better. And again, the tactics, the stats sort of are there to see. But again, Daniel Farke talking himself out of it. It depends on the opposition. It depends on the players available. I still think we've got the players available to be able to do this. You don't even have to be a 3-5-2. You could do a 3-4-2-1. You have got players in Gnonto and Okafor. Touching on Okafor, it was nice to see Okafor coming on in the central position and alongside DCL. He can do that. It's what I've been wanting for a while. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to see it in the next game against Chelsea. I think he will still revert back to a 4 at the back. That's against his stubbornness, and we can't get away from the fact we still lost the game, even though we were a lot better second half. Absolute lot, miles better second half. And a draw would have been fair for me coming off from that second half. If only we could have done that in that first half, playing the 3 at the back. Who'd have known? Who knows? And listen, sometimes you've just got to gamble, and that's where he don't want to do it. Daniel Farke doesn't want to gamble. Maybe I think he overthinks things sometimes. Listen, it was one of those games what was screaming out for us for a bit more defensive solidity, and it not only made us a lot more solid, but we were better going forward, and it's plain to see that it does work. And that's the frustration with me and Daniel Farke. We'll see what Wednesday brings. Chelsea at home at Ellen Road. We know Ellen Road is we do play differently at Ellen Road, but I've got to say again, proud of the boys for how we played against Manchester City, and if we can keep doing this, then against the lesser teams, this is the thing. We need to be doing this against the lesser teams. That's the important games, and I think we'll be fine. I've seen enough to suggest we have got actually the players, maybe not as much as we wanted. We do obviously need to add in the January transfer window, but we can get at teams, and we've just got to get his tactics and system right. And I'm hoping Daniel Farke does give the 3-5-2 a bit more of a chance. Just got obviously comment on the Donnarumma issue when he goes down and he's wasting time. That's ridiculous, and I know it's like Daniel Farke said, it's in the rules, and just take that off. It's in the rules of the game, but it is cheating. And I know Daniel Farke's very honest, and he wouldn't want him and his players to do that. But it's there. It's in the rules. The fact it's also the times added on at the end of the game is crazy. All the officials know what's going on. They know he's not injured. It's the goalkeeper. He don't have to come off the field. So it was blatantly obvious that there were time wasting, and it were all so that Pep could obviously get them all over and change things up. We were on top. We was really putting the pressure on Manchester City, and it's just a way of slowing the game down and then just having a bit of a reset. Again, it's in the rules. I don't like it either, but what can we do? We've just got to suck it up. So we're going to Chelsea. We are now still sitting 18th, but we're on the same points as West Ham's. Results did go for us yesterday. which was good to see. Again, it's just a shame we couldn't at least have got a point out of this game, which it looked like we was going to do. I still think we can get at teams if we stick to this system. I keep saying the same thing. If you stick to this system, stick to this formation, and I think we'd be fine. So again, it's not going to be on Daniel Farke, and again, it doesn't change anything. We've still lost the game. You know what the 49ers going to think. It's now 6 out of 7 we've lost. Can we get anything against Chelsea? Can we get anything against Liverpool at the weekend? Who knows? If we do, then I think Daniel Farke's okay for now. But yeah, I've got to give credit where credit's due. He got his tactics right second half, did Daniel Farke, and if he can now maybe see that himself, that it's the way forward, that'd be great. It would be great, and it's just everything we've been asking for. But we'll see. We will see. So that's it for today. Again, please consider subscribing and like the video, and I will speak to you all soon. Cheers.